This game was played on December the 28th, 2024. It was the first game of the Hall of Fame Classic, which is an annual tournament that is played at Newcastle Chrysler Fieldhouse. I'm not sure whether they still use the Chrysler or not, but it's on the scoreboard. The first game was with the undefeated Fishers Tigers, 7-0 at this point, and the undefeated at this point Warsaw Tigers, 6-0 at this point. First quarter was back and forth, pretty close. The game was there were several three-pointers, and at the end of the quarter it was 18-16, I believe. Warsaw. The next quarter was again back and forth, and Fishers ended up at halftime ahead 34-33. In most of the games that Fishers plays, that's where usually the separation is. In this one, Warsaw had a very good third quarter and came out of that third quarter with a 43-37 lead, which, for the first time in 2 years. Fishers only lost one game in the previous season and was the state champions. Warsaw had seen a very good third quarter, and at this point the game started becoming a very, very ball control type of game. The possibility of Fishers losing seemed to be pretty great. They had won 20 games in a row coming into this one. Going back to previous year, the only loss of the season was in January the 27th of the previous year at Carmel. They lost 54-46. The play to this point was really, Fishers getting 3 points in a quarter, unheard of. That was just something else, and they kind of made a little bit of an adjustment there, and that would probably be the difference in the game. The amount of back and forth in the third quarter seemed to be a factor, just the pure ball handling that Warsaw was able to dictate the tempo temporarily. The guard combination for Fishers is one of the biggest factors, but usually the outside play, the forwards and the center are their upperclassmen, and they usually pick up the tempo and pick up the guards and come through. But in this quarter, they did not. And really, this is the closest game that Fishers has had in. I'm going back to Noblesville in that same court, as a matter of fact. Last year in the not the same court. It was in the regional sectional final last year. They played Kokomo on that court last year, and but Noblesville, the Noblesville game was a 2-point game, and that was really the hardest test closest really game except for an overtime game against Senator Grove at Senator Grove last year. So, they were in trouble. And what was remarkable about this game is that they came back. And in the fourth quarter, we see them mount a charge. In the fourth quarter, it seems that Warsaw just went stone cold right at the end. They were ahead 51-50, and if you watch the
offensive foul number 22,
play-by-play here at the end here, I filmed a lot of the last of the fourth quarter. There's a three-pointer hit that put Fishers ahead for the first time in a while, 53-51. And then later on, they get a free throw, and it ends up being the 54-51 score that you see at the end. But you know, I mean, if you watch that last play there, that guy comes down and that ball rings. I mean, it was down so far, he almost put it into overtime, and who knows what would happen then. That would have been the first overtime game that Fishers had played, I think, this year. Yeah, they haven't played any this year. I mean, really, they haven't had anybody really even challenge them. I think the closest anybody has gotten is Westfield, and they beat them by 3 points. And let's see, yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the games have been blowouts most of the time. And you know, to get within 3 points, you would have thought that would have been great for Warsaw. At that point, it was the closest game other than that Noblesville game in 2 years with Fishers. Fishers is currently 21-0. That's 34 games in a row they've won. That's getting close to probably a state record. And we'll see what happens there. But the true thing is that in the fourth quarter, Warsaw just went stone cold there for a while, and you got to keep putting the ball in the basket. If they'd have put one or two of those in, and taken a little bit more time on some of their shots there at the end, they'd have probably challenged for the win a little even closer to what they did. Also, if they hit a couple of free throws there at the end, they missed several of those, and that wouldn't have been a three-pointer. It would have been a two-pointer, and they'd probably been much closer to the basket. They were able to get the ball inside most of the day. I don't know why they went to the three-pointer there in the fourth quarter. They really hadn't been shooting those since the first, and that proved to be their undoing. Several key misses there and long rebounds, and Fishers is pretty long. They get a lot of those. And what happens there is they just are very quick at getting the ball back down the floor, and it's hard to get back every time, and it gets you tired and winded, and that's what they do is they get you winded and then they pound you. So that was the story here. 54-51. Fishers ended up after the game at 8-0, and Warsaw ended up 6-1.
Full timeout. Foul number 12. Luke Brinker, and Parker Justice. Into the Warsaw lineup,